Good morning, everybody. This is Casper from the Tropical Weather Threat Society bringing you a special update on Major Hurricane Melissa out here in the Caribbean Sea, and it has been undergoing explosive intensification as we were discussing last night in our late night live stream, and it has achieved those values. Looking at the public advisory this morning, Melissa, as of the 8 a.m. intermediate advisory, is located at 16.3 degrees north, 76.4 degrees west, about 120 miles south southeast of Kingston, Jamaica, and about 280 miles south southwest of Guantanamo, Cuba. Maximum sustained winds are up to 140 miles an hour, and movement is due west at 5 miles an hour. Minimum central pressure has continued to fall and is now down to 952 millibars. There are no changes with this advisory for our watches and warnings. A hurricane warning is still in effect for Jamaica. A hurricane watch is in effect for the southwestern peninsula of Haiti and portions of eastern Cuba. A tropical storm warning still remains in effect for the southwestern portions of Haiti. No, excuse me. I've been not feeling good here this morning, folks. So I'm doing the best that I can. So please bear with me. Interest elsewhere in Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Cuba, and the southeastern and central Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos should monitor the progress of Melissa. Additional watches and warnings could be required later today. Hazards affecting land. This is the most important part of a public advisory. Wind. Tropical storm conditions are likely occurring in Jamaica, with hurricane conditions expected by Monday. Tropical storm conditions are expected in the warning area in Haiti today. The potential for hurricane conditions in the watch area in Haiti have diminished for today, but there is still a possibility of hurricane conditions occurring there on Tuesday. Hurricane conditions are possible in the watch area in eastern Cuba on Tuesday into Wednesday. Rainfall. Melissa is expected to bring total rainfall of 15 to 30 inches to portions of southern Hispaniola and Jamaica into Wednesday, with local maxima of 40 inches possible. Additional heavy rainfall is likely beyond Wednesday. Uncertainty at that time range precludes exact storm totals. Catastrophic flash flooding and landslides are probable across portions of southern Hispaniola and Jamaica. For eastern Cuba, total rainfall of 6 to 12 inches, with local amounts of 18 inches, are expected into Wednesday, resulting in life threatening flash flooding and landslides. Additional heavy rainfall is likely beyond Wednesday. Uncertainty at that time range precludes exact storm totals. Storm surge. We are still looking at 9 to 13 feet. Life threatening storm surge is likely along the south coast of Jamaica late Monday through Tuesday morning. Peak storm surge heights could reach 9 to 13 feet above ground level near and to the east of where the center of Melissa makes landfall. This storm surge will be accompanied by large and destructive waves. There is a potential for significant storm surge along the southeast coast of Cuba late Tuesday or Wednesday. Surf. Stay out of the water, folks. We've got a major storm out there. Um, that's kind of what it looks like. We did not get any mesoscale update or link here this morning from Nesdis, so I have decided to substitute our satellite for many other satellite options that we can pick from here from Sierra, and none of them are good. I mean, even if we look at our microwave imagery, that this is bad, folks. This is like really bad. Um, my heart goes out to all the folks there in Jamaica. Please, shelter in place. Um, and I wish you the best. I really do. I'm I'm almost speechless as to what this is going to bring. I really am. The rapid intensification has been explosive, and we are expecting this to become a Category 5 in very, very short order. All right, the forecast cone has shifted slightly to the west overnight. Now looking at more of a central Jamaican strike, not necessarily just on the eastern side, but because of all the onshore winds on the east side of the circulation, the southeastern side of the island is still at great risk for large and battering storm surge with the waves on top of that. So please, folks, uh, you know, make all those final preparations. I know the tropical storm force winds are pretty much taking over most of the island. Has not gotten all of it yet, but as we could see, it's not going to be long. I mean, we're already looking at Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine. It's on its way, folks. And if you keep in mind, this was the 8 a.m. advisory. This is moving at 5 miles an hour, albeit not very fast. But those tropical storm force winds are eventually going to take over the entirety of the island, and it's only going to go downhill from there. The rainfall is going to be epic. As you can see here from some of the radar coming out of Kingston, very well defined and powerful eye wall, with a lot of that rain, kind of rotating around there on that northern side and coming into Jamaica. This is kind of the preceding event of the big event as this were to get close and eventually make landfall. The spaghetti plots this morning, pretty much everybody is in good agreement. There is almost a guarantee that this makes landfall. They're into southern Jamaica. I mean, there's not really much that's going to avoid that at this point in time. The HCCA consensus aid has shifted just a little bit to the west this morning. Again, it is bringing it almost dead center of south central Jamaica on its landfall. Now, I know that we're getting really, really close to the point of where modeling is not really going to do a lot. We've got it under radar. We've got hurricane reconnaissance out there, and it doesn't really have a lot of time, and it doesn't really have a lot of distance that it can move. Granted, small wobbles here and there, 10, 15 miles, may make a difference, but the overall guidance on this is pretty well set, as you could see. There may be a little bit of cross-track spread once it gets into parts of the southwestern Atlantic, but the main focus here this morning will be on Jamaica. And I'm petrified of what Jamaica is going to look like when this is all said and done with. Hurricane reconnaissance, as we can see, 953 on the last pass. And that's all we have out there right now. Yes, that's all we have. One NOAA mission, and is currently on another leg and will come back around here a little later. And we'll be trying to get into the core of the system to give the latest information for the 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time primary advisory. Oh, excuse me. I ate something that did not agree with me, and I'm paying for it. Looking at our real-time estimates from the University of Wisconsin, 122 knots, 126 knots, 129 knots. The one thing that we can say is that when it hits 137, that will be Category 5 intensities. Our shear still remains at 16 knots. I would be very interested to see what this MPERT value will be when we get it, when it finally updates again. Being that the eye wall replacement cycle doesn't have very high of a chance, but I would like to see what it is with the new update, because with that orange, it is 6 to 12 hours old. And when we're dealing with storms like this, uh, you need more recent information. 6 to 12 hours old is honestly like severely outdated in situations like this. Did I miss our discussion? I changed the tabs on myself last night. All right, forecasters discussion. This was released at 5 a.m. This top paragraph is going to reference why the verification and justification that they kept for the intensity that they issued. We're not going to read that because that was 5 a.m. That is kind of an outdated, again, that's over 3 hours old. That's 4 hours old. That is a little outdated as far as why did we do what we did at 5 o'clock in the morning when I just read the 8 a.m. intermediate advisory. So it's not really, in my opinion, viable for here this morning. But paragraphs 2 and 3 are always extremely important. The center has taken a west-southwest jog over the past 12 hours, but more recent frames of satellite images suggest it is now moving westward at 270 degrees. There is very little change in the forecast reasoning or forecast track itself. Over the next 48 hours, Melissa is expected to make a slow westward to north-northeastward recurvature just south of Jamaica, likely reaching the island's southern coast Tuesday morning. An acceleration towards the northeast is expected after 48 hours when Melissa is picked up by a trough, moving off the southeast coast of the United States, and this motion should bring the center across southeast Cuba late Tuesday or early Wednesday, across the southeastern Bahamas later on Wednesday, and then reaching the vicinity of Bermuda on Friday. It is assumed that the current period of rapid intensification will continue and Melissa could reach Category 5 intensity by tonight. An eye wall replacement would be likely to occur at some point over the next couple of days, which would cause a decrease or at least fluctuations in Melissa's intensity after 24 hours. Regardless, Melissa is forecast to reach Jamaica as a Category 4 hurricane, which will only compound any damages caused by heavy rainfall and flooding over the next 2 days. Melissa is likely to weaken a little during its passage across Jamaica, but intensity guidance suggests that it will likely still be a major hurricane when it reaches southeastern Cuba late Tuesday and the southeastern Bahamas on Wednesday. Stronger shears should cause the storm to weaken below major hurricane strength on days 4 and 5 while over the western Atlantic. And as we can see here, we have the forecast intensity definitely, sky's the limit on this. I would not be surprised if it kind of taps out the basin as far as energy is concerned and then begin to make eye wall replacement cycles. Something similar to what we saw with Hurricane Aaron, where Hurricane Aaron basically reached the maximum threshold that was available for the energy out there, and then it began to create eye wall replacement cycles, trying to expand its overall wind field and the center of circulation itself. Now, our intensity forecast, as you could see here, 155 miles an hour in 48 hours just south of Jamaica. Folks, I'm going to be honest with you. If it's 155, high-end Category 4, 160, low-end Category 5, you're not going to know the difference. It is going to be catastrophic impacts, period. Please make sure you take shelter immediately and shelter in place. As far as the 60-hour is concerned, this is 140 just north of Jamaica. So what we're looking at is somewhere between 155 miles an hour and then maybe weakening down to 140 miles an hour, which is still a very powerful Category 4 storm while over the island. So that's, there's not many words that you can put to that, folks. There's really not. There's no real nice way of explaining it other than that is going to be the worst impact that Jamaica has ever seen in recorded history. And then you add all of the rain that is going to fall prior to Melissa's landfall, and this is likely to become a humanitarian crisis. Please, folks, please be ready to help these people down there. They are desperately going to need it. And if we take a look here, 72 hours over southeastern Cuba, they're at 120 miles an hour, re-emerging over the open waters at 110, below major hurricane status, and then accelerating off to the northeast very, very rapidly. If you look at, I'm better off getting the crayons. Look at this right here. 96 hours, it is at 24.8 north. At 120 hours, 24 hours later, it is at 30.3 north. Now, one thing that I have noticed is it doesn't look like that we may see extratropical transition prior to Bermuda. It's still kind of questioned. It's not really going to make much of a difference other than it would turn it frontal. But it does look like Bermuda. You definitely need to keep an eye on this. Our reconnaissance, let's see, they have moved and now they are starting to make that northern turn and head back towards the center of circulation. So we should get a new update here very, very shortly. Our wind speed probabilities, again, I am more focused here on Jamaica this morning. You guys, 97% respectively for both Montego Bay and Kingston for tropical storm force winds. 69% for both Montego Bay and Kingston for our 50 knot or 58 mile an hour winds. And a 47% chance for hurricane force winds and 46% chance for 47 for Kingston, 46 for Montego Bay. These numbers will continue to rise. All right. Rainfall, we have had some adjustments to this graphic. We have dropped off quite a bit for the Tiburon Peninsula of Haiti, as you can see here, but is still anticipated to see isolated 16 inches plus. We still have our possible up to 40 inches here in the mountains on the eastern portions of Jamaica. That will lead to Helene-style flooding, major landslides, major landslips, roads being taken out, vegetation pretty much being stripped off the mountains. We're looking at something that is probably extraordinarily beautiful right now with all the greenage and just the way that the hills roll and stuff like that. And I'm afraid afterwards it's going to look barren. I really don't expect much, especially on the eastern side of the island in that elevated terrain. I do not expect much for trees, shrubs, bushes. I don't expect much at all to be there afterwards. I really don't. I mean, granted, you're going to have parts and pieces of limbs and trees and everything down and snapped, and you know, this is going to be the worst impact that Jamaica has ever seen in history. And I, watching this all unfold in a very slow time, it's like being stalked by a tortoise, but you know that tortoise is, you know, for you yourself, that tortoise is like 2,000 pounds and like 50 feet tall. You ain't doing a damn thing to that tortoise. But when that tortoise gets to you, it's going to step on you and you're going to know. And this is, I haven't seen anything like this in years, folks. I'm not going to lie. Even the situation that we had with Helene that we knew was going to be catastrophic, Honestly, this is worse because Helene had, low end category one hurricane strength, real strong tropical storm force strength to hit the areas that were flooded. This is going to be looking at 150, 155 mile an hour winds with higher gusts. That'd probably be, if you add 20% back to, so if we're looking at we'll just say 150, the gusts are going to be somewhere around 180. And the winds only increase with height. So especially in those mountainous terrains, it there's not very many words that you can put to this, folks. This is please shelter in place. Please, please. I I'm left kind of speechless on this one. I'm not gonna lie because it is that bad. 5 day rainfall totals. I've got the GFS and the Euro, the overnight runs. Still looking at the same thing again. Modeling at this point, knowing that we've got everything on radar, knowing that we're within about 48-hour time frame of landfall. Modeling, while still viable, it's not as, I'd say, I can't say useful. That's not the proper word that I'm looking for, but it is not, so needed as far as any of the long range stuff because we're within that 48-hour time frame. Key messages. This is heartbreaking to read. This really is. I've read these key messages now multiple times over the last couple days, and this is tough, folks. I'm not gonna lie because I feel for these people, and there's not really much that can be done from my end except for what I'm trying to do here. If I save one person, all my time, effort, and energy, the entire team's time, energy, effort, it's all worth it. Please, folks, stay safe. We do not want any loss of life. Key message number one from the 5 a.m. primary advisory. This is specifically for Jamaica. Seek shelter now. Damaging winds and heavy rainfall today and on Monday will cause catastrophic and life-threatening flash flooding and numerous landslides before the strongest winds arrive Monday night and Tuesday morning. Extensive infrastructural damage, long duration power and communication outages, and isolation of communities are expected. Life-threatening storm surge is likely along portions of the southern coast Monday night and Tuesday morning. Key message number two for the folks in Haiti. Catastrophic and life-threatening flash flooding and landslides are expected across southwestern Haiti through midweek, likely causing extensive infrastructural damage and isolation of communities. Although winds are temporarily decreasing on the Tiburon Peninsula, they could increase again across much of western Haiti on Tuesday. The Dominican Republic. Heavy rainfall through midweek could produce catastrophic flash flooding and numerous landslides in southern portions of the country. Number four. Eastern Cuba, southeastern Bahamas, and the Turks and Caicos. Monitor Melissa closely. There is an increasing risk of significant storm surge, damaging winds, and heavy rainfall by the middle of the week. In eastern Cuba, the risk of life-threatening flash flooding and landslides is increasing. A hurricane watch is in effect for portions of eastern Cuba. I have a halves model here. I was running it out to try to see if what we were looking at, see if we couldn't get any kind of degradation after it moves into the southwestern Atlantic. Honestly, I was trying to see if we get some extratropical transition prior to getting into the range of Bermuda. It seems less likely this morning than what we were looking at last night, which it's sad, folks. It may end up being a Jamaica, Cuba, southeastern Bahamas, and then Bermuda impact. And Melissa's going to get retired. Let's just be very clear with that. That we'll never see Melissa again after this. Ever. Now, I've got here the simulated radar just to show everybody the amount of rain that is anticipated. As you can see, it just doesn't stop. And it keeps falling. And it keeps falling. And it keeps falling. And now we've got landfall. And if we look at the winds at landfall, that's category 5. Now, this is just one model, one run. But that one model, one run, if I find a model that's worse, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't looked. I've been more just looking at the transition and how things evolve, because it's pretty much set in stone that Jamaica is going to take some severe impacts. And my thing is that I want to see down the line, and as you could see right here with Halves A, Bermuda's right there. And I would like to try to give people as much heads up as possible. The folks down there in and around the Caribbean and the southeastern Bahamas, everybody knows about Melissa coming. It's all over the news. As far as Bermuda is concerned, because it's so far well away from it, there's not a lot of discussion on it. Now, granted, the National Hurricane Center did make mention of it here this morning in the discussion, but I mean, we've been looking at it from a perspective as well. And now looking over at Halves B just for comparison, as you can see here, does get it off more towards the western part of the island, and then the rain. I mean, this is insane. We're looking at Harvey level rains with, Helene style impacts, Dorian style movement. This, folks. And we were so close. We were so close to getting out of this season without any significant impacts. And Halves B, there's Bermuda right there. No, Amanda. No. The 200 mile an hour gusts, no. That's not off the table. Now, seeing 200 mile an hour gusts on land may be a little bit difficult. But not at higher terrains. The higher you go up, okay, so I'll give you a perfect example. Let's go back to A. I'll show you. Let's go back to A. Let's get our crayons out of the way. Let's go back to about 60 hours. So here we are 913 millibars. If we come to the winds, 154.5 knots. If I come up one level to the 850 millibar level, you could see how the winds increase. If I come up to the 700 millibar level, you could see how things, just the overall, you don't have friction to really kind of slow things down. And unfortunately for those higher peaks out there, it's I would guarantee that they're going to see Category 5 winds. I don't see anything that's going to slow it down, except maybe a well-timed eye wall replacement cycle. That's about all we have left in hopes for Jamaica. A well-timed eye wall replacement cycle that may be able to bring it down to a mid-grade Cat 4. Maybe before landfall. Maybe a low-end Cat 4 prior to landfall. No Cat 4 has still ever hit Jamaica anyway, directly. Gilbert was the strongest one at a high-end Category 3 that we know of. So, My heart breaks for these people. It really does. Um, I've been watching them from the government of Jamaica. I've been really trying to keep an eye on them. Their precipitation amounts, granted, all this is in millimeters, but really, 3 hour timelines and time breaks, and we're talking about 22, 20, 16, 17, 34, 46. These are millimeters of rain. You start adding them up, that's a lot of rain. And it's just going to forecast to keep on coming. And keep coming. And keep coming. Make sure, folks, you are using your official sources. This is the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management from the government of Jamaica. As you can see, they have all the bulletins out here. You can get any information that you seek. Hit the refresh on that. They're still calling it tropical storm. Once they got to the point to where they were like, okay, we've got big problems. They were like, all right, we're just going to work on other things and not necessarily the website. And I don't blame them. I really don't blame them at all, because this is about as bad as you can get, folks. Like I said, I haven't seen anything like this since maybe Dorian. Serious. And we've had so many systems between now and then. Maybe Dorian. But Dorian was missing the Harvey style rainfall. This is unprecedented. It really is. The shelters, please, folks, use your official sources. Use the resources that are available on the island. If you need to go to a shelter, go. Go now. Don't wait. Time is one thing. No matter what you do, you can never get back time. Once time is gone, time is gone. It doesn't come back. You must use your time wisely in life-threatening situations like this. Very much so. All right, that's about all I am going to discuss here this morning. I will pull up the Google DeepMind because it did shift a little bit to the left this morning. So it is looking maybe a little bit more of a westerly drift with Melissa in the short term, which then results in a little bit more of a left side strike for the island, not necessarily a direct strike on Kingston. Now, this would be terrible for the folks over there on the left side of the island. You're still on the non-dirty side of the wind field, but it is still going to be very, very impactful. The east side of that is where you're going to be getting a lot of onshore flow, a lot of surge, the potential for tornadoes and water spouts moving in. Just a mess. And let's see, do we get the 6E? Not yet. Do I get the 6E with our graphic? I do. And it is still shifted to the left. Maybe even just a touch further to the left. And as you can see, the overall mean for this 926 millibars on the mean of all these averages. And if you really, really look at it, yeah, 926 is the mean, but we could honestly go lower than that as well. And this has been the best performing model all year long, so that's why I'm not worried about showing many of the other ones. I want to show this one because it has performed the best in combination with the National Hurricane Center. All right, folks, I'm going to go ahead and call it here for this morning. I will be back at 1 p.m. Eastern noon Central. We will go over the next primary advisory that will be released at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and we're going to be here the whole time. So feel free, come back, join us when you can. We'll have the latest information as what's being provided by the National Hurricane Center and some of the modeling data, getting into using CIRA here and the some of their products, because it's bad, folks. It's really bad. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I really don't. Oh, what do we got here? Oh, I'm gonna have to play with that. This is AI verification. There you go, James. I got you. Here you go, Bubba. I'm gonna drop this right into chat. I'll share it to you off after we get out. I don't want to confuse the. If anybody would like any of this, please just let me know in the next lives. But I am damn sure going to be sharing that to the team. Finally, we have AI verifications. And look, I'm not even going to lie. You want AI verifications? And this is what I keep trying to tell you. The Google DeepMind does not play when it comes to intensity. Not at all. And the Google DeepMind has pulled out the dog collar and the dog leash and is walking these other models. That's the Google DeepMind. When I say dog walking these other models, I'm not kidding. I haven't been joking. It's not even funny. Now, track, okay, we're comparable with the other ones. Intensity, not even close. Not even close. So, all right, folks, I will be back again here in a few hours. Please stay safe, folks in the warned areas, especially in Jamaica. Time is pretty much over with. Please shelter in place and stay safe. All right, everybody. I'll talk to you again in a little while.